You know the story of Jacob and Esau, right? The ultimate sibling rivalry. But what if I told you the story we think we know is just the surface? Today, we're going to peel back the layers to find a hidden story, a narrative that was locked in place before these two brothers even took their first breath. So yeah, this is about a whole lot more than just two brothers fighting over some soup and a blessing. This is really a story about destiny, about character, and about a wild prophecy that came from inside the womb. A prophecy that would go on to shape the future of entire nations. And this is the prophecy that kicked the whole thing off. It was delivered to their mother, Rebekah, while she was in agonizing pain. Just this one sentence, and boom, the stage is set for everything that's about to happen. I mean, think about it. The outcome is already decided before the main characters even have names. Okay, so to really get a handle on this prophecy, we've got to go back to where it all started. And that means diving into Rebekah's pregnancy, which was, well, it was mysterious, it was incredibly difficult, and it was a whole lot more than just physical pain. The conflict inside her was so violent, so confusing, that she literally questioned her own reason for being. The text says the children were struggling in her womb. You can just imagine. She knew something wasn't right. Something unnatural was going on. So she went looking for a divine answer to figure out what this intense turmoil was all about. And this is where the commentator Rashi gives us this incredible insight. He explains, hey, this wasn't a physical fight like you might imagine. This was a spiritual war. He suggests that whenever Rebekah walked past a house of learning, the baby that would become Jacob would, lunge for it. But when she passed a house of idolatry, the baby that would become Esau lunged for that. Their fundamental natures were already clashing. So this intense conflict that started in the womb, well, it just spills right out into the world the moment they're born. And right away, their physical appearances, their very first actions, they tell us exactly who these two are. And the contrast couldn't be clearer right from the get-go. Esau pops out first, all red and hairy. He's a man of action, pure physicality. Later on, he's known as this skillful hunter, a man of the outdoors. And then there's Jacob. He comes out literally grasping his brother's heel, like he's already trying to catch up. He grows up to be a mild man, someone who dwells in tents, which Rashi tells us means the tents of scholarship and learning. And, of course, their names are no accident. Rashi points out that Esau's name literally means made or finished. It's like he came out of the box fully assembled, right? A totally complete physical being, ready for the physical world. With Esau, there were no hidden layers. What you saw was what you got. Jacob's name, though, that's a different story. It comes from the Hebrew word for heel, and it means someone who follows, someone who, well, supplants. His whole identity, from his very first action, is defined by his relationship with his brother and this constant struggle to get ahead. His name is all about strategy and what's to come. So, as these two grow up, their personalities basically send them down two completely different roads. But, and this is a big but, as we're about to see, one of them is not at all what he appears to be on the surface. The Bible is pretty straightforward about it. It says their father, Isaac, favored Esau. And the reason it gives is simple. Esau was the hunter. He brought home the game. On the surface, it just looks like a dad loving the son who provides for him, right? Pretty simple. But was it really that simple? This is where the story takes a turn. Isaac saw the hunter, the provider, the man of action. But was that the whole story of who Esau was? Or was Isaac being played? Rashi gives us this amazing detail. He says Esau was a cunning hunter, but not just of animals. He hunted people too. He would trap his own father with this fake piety, asking these super technical religious questions, like this one, about tithing salt and straw. Now here's the kicker. You don't actually tithe salt and straw. The question was a total setup, designed to make Isaac think, wow, my son Esau is so incredibly devout. And this just shows you the fundamental difference between them. Esau's religious act, it was all a performance. Jacob, on the other hand, is described with the word tam, which means plain or simple or whole. With Jacob, there was no act. What you saw on the outside was exactly what was on the inside. And all of this leads us right to the most famous scene in the whole story. You know the one. It's the moment where character, hunger, and destiny all come crashing together over a simple bowl of stew. So Esau stumbles in from the field totally wiped out. And listen to his words. He says, "Give me some of that red stuff."
That red stuff, he doesn't even know what it is. He is completely driven by his immediate physical hunger. He just wants to gulp it down. His entire world is about the now, the body, the immediate gratification.
But you have to wonder, why was Jacob making red lentil stew on this particular day? Was that just a coincidence? Absolutely not. And once again, Rashi uncovers this hidden layer of tragedy that completely changes how we see this whole scene. Okay, get ready for this, because the context is just mind-blowing. Jacob wasn't just whipping up some lunch. He was cooking a mourner's meal. Their grandfather, the great Abraham, had just died, and this lentil stew was the traditional first meal for his grieving father Isaac. Everything about it is symbolic. The lentils are round, for the wheel of life and death. They don't have a mouth or a seam, symbolizing a mourner's silent grief. This wasn't just soup, it was a sacred ritual. So when Jacob says, "Sell me your birthright," what is he really asking for? This wasn't about money or getting more land. Rashi explains that back then, the birthright was about a sacred duty. The firstborn son was basically the family priest. It was his job to perform the sacrificial service to God. So this is the moment of truth. Esau, who can only think about his rumbling stomach, looks at this future full of heavy spiritual duties and basically says, "Look, I'm about to die from hunger. What good is a birthright to me?" And just like that, he trades an eternal spiritual responsibility for a bowl of stew, for a temporary physical fix. And the Bible's final line on this is just chilling. It says Esau spurned the birthright. He didn't just sell it. He despised it. He showed complete contempt for the one thing that connected his entire family line to God. In that one moment, he showed everyone who he truly was. And with that one act, that one moment of showing his true colors, the whole story just clicks into place. It brings us full circle, right back to the beginning. Remember that prophecy? The older shall serve the younger. Well, here it is. Esau, the older brother, because of his own character, his impulsiveness, his obsession with the physical, his disdain for anything spiritual, he basically just handed over his status to Jacob, to the younger brother who actually understood what it was worth. So that leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? Was Jacob just a cunning, scheming guy who took advantage of the situation, or was he an instrument of destiny, someone who saw that his brother was completely unfit for the spiritual job he was born into? The story doesn't give us an easy answer. It just leaves us there, thinking about that blurry line between our own choices and a fate that's already been written.